I'm not a spy. They told me about the risks, but as a journalist, I knew that it was my duty and it was my responsibility to publish it. I was not guilty. I've done something good and something important. This was the clear evidence of the crime. So I definitely said, yeah, we should just publish this. And then I understood that, yeah, it's gonna start now.
Thursday, the 28th of May, 2015, 3 p.m. An emergency meeting took place on the 5th floor of Turkey's secular centre-left newspaper, Cumhuriyet, where I was editor-in-chief. The bulletproof blinds are drawn. There are 7 of us, 4 journalists and 3 lawyers. We are there to discuss a video.
The video was showing some trucks. The gendarmerie were stopping them and trying to, uncover the material in it. And the material was some medicine boxes. The boxes, they were full of armory. And the driver was a guy belonging, working for the Turkish Intelligence Service. And then we realized that the Turkish Intelligence Service was smuggling arms through Syria. So it was the very important evidence of an international crime.
So we would publish. We picked the clearest stills, put them on the front page under the headline, "The Weapons Denied by Erdogan." But before publishing, we had to consider the repercussions.
In a country where the rule of law does not exist and the whole judiciary is under the control of the government, it wouldn't be so easy to, get rid of the government's pressure. It's a tug of war, it's a political game. So I wouldn't expect anything from the legal side of it. But politically we were strong and we had the support of the people. I was optimistic that we can win this game because we are stronger and we are courageous. And I thought they couldn't do it while the whole world was watching.
There is a price to pay if you're a journalist or a writer in Turkey. Unless you are prepared to pay it, you should never pick up the pen in the first place.
All they could say is that was a classified information, shouldn't be revealed. And they accused us for being a spy. They were lying to the parliament and saying that they were just trafficking some medicine and nothing else. So it was a big lie, and that's why the reaction of the government was so big.
Public interest defines the limits. There's absolutely no public benefit to publishing naked photos of politicians, but if the state is caught out with its pants down in an illicit affair, I wouldn't hesitate for a moment to publish them. So what if the state is committing crimes? What if those weapons end up in the wrong hands with ISIS? What if Turkey is dragged into the chaos that's Syria, into a war without Parliament's knowledge? Who's going to check it? Who's going to warn the public? Don't Parliament and the public have a right to know? Maybe, just maybe, our publishing that story stopped our country from going through with a terrible mistake. So we were summoned into the criminal court at 5:45. We'd been waiting 11 hours.
The courtroom was full of supporters, and they were expecting the decision of the court. But I was so sure that I prepared the text that we are arrested.
We are arrested. The judge announced our arrest, speaking for about 10 seconds before exiting the courtroom. I heard a yell from somewhere behind.
Shame on you!
And I hit tweet. We are arrested. We set off. An hour and a half later, Silivri prison appeared on the horizon.
Is that the place I will spend the rest of my life? If you knew that you would spend there a year or 2, then you can prepare yourself, but nobody knows. That's the fear, and that's what's horrifying. I checked the places. The toilet was horrible. So the television was not there, which was, if you are alone, a voice is so important. So if a voice can be heard from a TV screen, that's important. Everything was so gray, and that makes you a kind of pessimist in a way. So in the first days, I was free to give my articles to my lawyers. So one of my articles, I mentioned this, that everywhere is gray, so I need some color. So I started to paint something, but how can you paint it without pencil, a colorful pencil? So I start using some fruit juice, to paint some flowers, and I sent it to my paper. It's a sign of life, so you put it in your gray jail, but people can find a way to make it colorful in using every opportunity.
Dipping my toothbrush into orange scraped from orange peel, burgundy from radishes, and green from apples. I painted June protest and decorated my letters with colourful borders. That's how I overcame the colour ban.
The first letter came from my son, and it was the first day in my cell, and I was so strong and tried to be joyful, and I was trying to motivate myself. But all of a sudden this letter came, and this is the first time that I was so sad and start crying, to be honest. But I mean, you are getting a letter from a creator you created, and he's trying to ease your feelings and try to give you strength. Well, letters are the phone calls of a prisoner. That's what I can say. So many people was writing to me that by saying that this is my first letter with my handwriting. It was an interesting experience, not only for me, but for them as well. That's why it was really encouraging you that you should do more for these people.
I tried to make my voice heard with a letter, column, statement, or a message to every single visitor, every demonstration, and every newspaper. Whatever I wrote was taken out either by solicitors or MP friends.
During my university years, I used to go to theater, but the theater was part of our struggle, let's say. It was a political mission, Gorky or Brecht, that kind of stuff. Theater has become my agitator, to be honest. I guess 6 months ago, I got a call from someone from Royal Shakespeare Company, and they are interested in my book about my imprisonment. And of course, I thought it was a joke. They invited me to a reading, and the date will be the 16th of June. So it was my birthday. So all of a sudden, wow, what a present. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. To be honest, I just want to see them, watch them, how do they feel, instead of, I'm imposing something. It must be interesting for Peter to feel like a prisoner. So it's nice to see myself in his shape,
I think there's something about resistance in finding beautiful images. Does that make sense?
Apart from its artistic quality, for political reasons and practical reasons, it's so invaluable for me. We have 150 journalists in Turkish jails. It's just a number. But if we can give the message through art, it's much more, sincere. I mean, what's going on in Turkey would be much more visible thanks to this show.
Release. In the arms of my loved ones, I passed from the closed prison of Silivri to the semi-open prison that is Turkey.
After the book was published, I was sentenced 5 years and 10 months of imprisonment. I was shot at in front of the courthouse, and I survived thanks to my wife's courage. And then I forced to live outside the country in exile. So I lost my city, my job, my country, my family, and all of a sudden I found myself in a country where I don't have any ties and I don't know the language of it. And my life changed dramatically, and they confiscate the passport of my wife, so I haven't seen her. Yeah, it's a big prize for me, defending the truth. But at the good side of it, that the truth is still there, and Erdogan will be punished because of it. I know that. Governments hate the truth. They like obedient people, and especially journalists. They hate criticism. And that's why the people who are brave enough to tell the truth spend a very important period of time in jail.
I drew on George Orwell for moral support. In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
You can understand why freedom of speech is important when you don't have the freedom of speech anymore. You are not allowed to say what you see. You are not allowed to write what you observe. Now it's a fight for us. I mean, we are defending our rights to write, to tell the truth. And we are defending not only a profession, but a country. Secularism, democracy, equality of men and women. You can't take it for granted, nothing in today's world. So we have to fight for it. We have to fight back.